Hey guys, and welcome to Sports Watch. In today's episode, we're going to be doing a dive into football. So let's charge headfirst into the defensive line. Now, if you've ever watched football, you'll have noticed the ball doesn't usually make contact with the player's feet, with the exception of the kicker. So the thought may have popped into your head, why is it called football? And you'd be right to wonder that. If you watch the first episode, the basic answer won't be much of a surprise. But for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, let me tell you a tale. American football can trace its lineage back to its parent sports of football, or soccer, and rugby. With football/soccer tracing its roots back about 2,000 years from one of the various cultures laying claim to it, though most records and reports agree that the originator is ancient China, whereas rugby was born and bred in Warwickshire England in 1823, at least according to reports. This fusion of rugby and soccer led to an early version of the sport that we know and love today. The first game was played on November 6th of 1869 between Princeton and Rutgers in New Brunswick, New Jersey, with a rule set being pulled from soccer and a player count of 25 for each team. From that first game, it wasn't long before American football took off and became well known the world over and wildly popular in North America. Later on, with the formation of the American Professional Football Association in 1920, changing their name to the National Football League in 1922, serious league-based competition began, and America was never the same. On a side note, the NFL didn't face real competition until 1959 with the formation of the American Football League, but in the end, merged with the well-established NFL to create the American Football Conference and National Football Conference in 1970. Zipping ahead to the modern day, American football is played with 2 teams of 11, with other players in reserve. And the pigskin is an easily recognizable brown leather-textured oval-shaped ball that players do their best to not only keep away from the other team, but use to score points against them. Each team is divided into offensive and defensive positions, where the offensive is tasked with scoring as many touchdowns as possible, and the defensive is set to prevent the other team from doing the same by tackling anyone with the ball on the other team, and barring that, making them lose control of it by other means. And win one team shall. All the way to the final touchdown at the Super Bowl, where one of the 32 teams will take home the coveted Vince Lombardi trophy. And with a total of 60 minutes of playtime divided into 2 halves of 30 minutes and 4 quarters of 15, players run this time down in short, fast plays, meaning games can take significantly longer. But these long run times do nothing to dissuade the dedicated fans frown from sea to shining sea. With an average 14-year total attendance count of 16.22 million, even the recent pandemic did little to slow this behemoth of broadcasting down. With fans saying the season directly after the pandemic was one of the best ever, in part due to it having 17 games, as opposed to the regular 16. Now, football fans, let's get into the statistics. Starting off, we've got a side-by-side comparison of the most recent title holder and the first title holder after the 1970 merger, and rounding things off with the overall best. Let's get into it. First up, we have the most points scored in a season, with the Dallas Cowboys coming in at 530 in 2021, the San Francisco 49ers with 352 in 1970, and the Denver Broncos with the highest ever in 2013 at 606. Following that, we've got MVP for the season, Aaron Rodgers for 2021, John Brody for 1970, and Peyton Manning having the most NFL MVPs ever. This coming season, though, things get a bit unpredictable since it hasn't happened yet, but the current projections are MVP, Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills, Best Defensive Tackle, Aaron Donald of the Los Angeles Rams, Best Offensive Tackle, Trent Williams of the San Francisco 49ers, and Best Quarterback, Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. With the 2021 to 2022 season having ended earlier this year and the 2022 to 2023 season fast approaching, fans are more than just eager to see how things unfold for their favorite athletes and teams. Here's wishing a very good year to all involved and good luck to those competing. I hear the competition is fierce this year, so you'll need it. If you've got a favorite player you'd like us to talk about, be sure to leave a comment with their name and reason why down below, and we'll do our best to give your favorite the royal treatment they deserve. Anyways, folks, that's all we've got for you today. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Sports Watch. And as always, hit that like button, drop a sub if you want to see more, and turn on notifications to be kept as up-to-date as possible on all that is sports. Until next time, this has been Sports Watch.